Hi there, this is video 13 and it covers pages 21 through to 28 in your notes. Now earlier we looked at what we call row iterative functions. They are functions or formulas that work on a row by row basis, such as calculating the age or the year that they were born. Now what I want to look at is aggregate functions. Aggregate functions summarize the whole situation. Common aggregate functions we use in Excel would be sum, would be count A, would be count ifs, average ifs, sum ifs, decount, dsum. There's a lot of database functions or aggregate functions that we use in Excel. I want to start by creating a separate sheet called calculations. So the data is one sheet, the calculations are in a separate sheet, and then we'll create our dashboards off that. So let's start by inserting a new sheet, and let's double click and call it calculations. So this is all of our workings go into this dedicated sheet. Now I'm also going to type the word calculations in A1. And I'm going to make it the font size 14. And I might even double click just to widen the column. All right. Then in B2, I'm going to put number or no full stop, and I'll make that bold as well. Then in A3, I'm going to put employees. And in A4, I'll put positions. And I'll make these bold as well. Okay. And I'll also right align them. Okay, so we've got our appearances. I might actually zoom in just so you can see better. There we go. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to count the number of employees in my master data sheet. So I use the count function. The best way to put a function in, I believe, is to press the equals key near the backspace key and then type the letter the function begins with. Whereafter count, so that begins with C. Now there's a lot of functions in Excel that begin with C. So I'm going to drill down by pressing O to those functions that begin with CO. And still I can't see count, so I'm going to go COU. Once I type equals COU, I can see the count function, and this little tooltip describes the count function. It says it counts the number of cells in a range that contain numbers. So it's not going to count blank ones, it's not going to count text, it's only going to count the cells with numbers, which is actually what I want. So I'm going to double click count, and now I go off to the master data sheet, which is where my data is. Here are my employee IDs, so I just click on A, because the data could shrink or grow, so I don't want to go A1 to A201. I actually want to count the entire column A. It won't count the column heading because that's text, employee ID, but it will count all the numbers that are in column A and should give me the answer when I press enter of 200, which is correct. There are 200 employees and each employee has a numerical employee ID number. Now I need to count the positions, and now we have a problem. When I go to master data and I look at my positions in column B, these are not numbers. They're hanging to the left-hand side. They're actually text. Some of them have alpha characters in them. So I can't use the count function. But there is another function called count A, and count A counts all. It counts all the cells that are not blank, not the ones that just contain numbers. It'll count all, text, numbers, dates, the whole lot. So equals COU, and here is count A. Count A counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. Count blank, just for your info, counts the number of cells in a range that are empty, but we want count A. I then go to master data, I then click on column B, and it's going to count everything in column B, including the column heading, because it's not a number. So I end up with one extra value, which is correct, but I'm going to double click and just put a -1, just put a -1 on the end, which takes off one digit for the column heading. So that's your count and your count A functions. Very, very handy. Now I'm just going to narrow this column here. Now I want to count how many staff are in each department. So first of all, I need to go and get the departments. So I'm actually going to go to my master data, and my departments are sitting in, let's scroll over this way. They are sitting in W. Let's select the entire column W. Let's Control C to take a copy. Let's go to calculations, go to D1 and press enter. That drops the whole lot in here. Now let's click in the list, go to data in the ribbon and choose remove duplicates. This will, when I go OK, remove all the duplicates, leaving me with a total of 8 unique values. I'll then go OK, and I now want to move this information down. So I'm going to select this here. I'm going to Control X to cut it. I'm going to click in D3 and press enter. I'm then going to go above it and type departments, and to the right of it type no. These two I'll make bold. The columns I'll adjust, double click, and also this needs to be in alphabetical order. So on the data tab, I'll hit the A to Z button and it sorts them in alphabetical order. Now this department primary was actually a column heading and actually should be got rid of. So I'm going to select this here, I'm going to cut it, I'm going to click on department primary and press enter. So I'm left with a unique list of departments. Now to the right of construction, I want to create a count ifs. Now a count ifs function is great when you want to count just certain ones. So you say, I want to count the departments, but only if it's construction. Now, in the early days, let me type equals COU. In the early days, the original OG function was called count if. We want to avoid that function. It has history. That function only allows one condition, and I think we would rather have this one, the next one down, which has an S on the end. This allows a set of conditions, and we want that potential. We might have one or up to 127 conditions. So I'm going to go for count ifs. It's good practice. Double click count ifs. It then says, what range do I need to look at? So I'm going to tell it to go to master data and go to column W, just by clicking on the column heading W. Then I'll go comma, and it says in column W, which ones am I supposed to count? Well, that's when I go back to calculations and I click on construction. So I'm saying look at master data column W and count the ones that match D3, and I'll press enter. 63 staff members are based in the construction department. Now, if I double click that formula, calculations doesn't need to be there. It doesn't hurt if it is, but it doesn't need to be there. You could just put D3, especially if you were typing it, you would just type D3. But when you click, sometimes it pulls through the name of the sheet. Either way, it works. I'm now going to click on the 63, double click the thin black cross to fill it down, and it tells me how many staff are based in each department of my 200 staff. Now I want to total this up, so I'm just going to click in this cell here, and I'm going to hold the Alt and press the equals twice. And that just automatically sums up all the values above. And it's come back with an answer of 200, which tallies with the number of employees I've got, so I'm very happy about that. I'll press Control B and I'll make that bold. I'm just going to reduce the width of column F, and I'd like to do another calculation. This time I want to calculate the number of staff by job title. So I'll go to master data, I'll find job title, which I believe is manager's name, primary. Let's go back this way. Here we go, column Q. Select column Q, Control C to copy. Go to calculations, G1 and press enter. go to Data, Remove Duplicates, and OK to get rid of all the duplicates. Go to Data and hit A to Z to sort those job titles in alphabetical order. Let's now cut those job titles. Click in G2 and press Enter. Oh, now I've got the whole column shows up. Let me go OK and escape. Click on G1, go Control A to just select those cells, not the whole column. Go Control X to cut them. Now click in G2 and press Enter to move them down. I'm going to edit this to say job title. And I'll just double click to bring the column width in. And over here, I might just take a copy of that. And in here, I want to do my countifs function. So equals COU, always go for the countifs with the S on the end. Countifs, master data, job title column Q, comma, matches calculations G3, or just G3. Enter. 9 staff members will have the job title accounts. And so if I double click and fill that down, it calculates all the others. If I just zoom in a little bit, you can see all the results there. Now I want to total these, so I'll click here and go Alt equals equals, and there's my total of 200. So that's my checks and balances. So those numbers add up to the right number of employees, so I can assume they must be correct. All right, and let's narrow the width of column I. Now I'd like to count how many staff members by gender. So I'm actually just going to type. It's just this quick. And I'll type female and male. I'll take a copy. I can control drag the end of this, edge of this, and put that over there. When you hold the control key and you drag the edge of a cell, you make a duplicate. Now I want to go equal COU, double click countifs. I want to count if in the master data and in column F, comma, those that match that. When I press enter, 109 females, double click to fill it down, 99 males, click in a couple of cells down, Alt equals equals, total of 200 employees. Let's just make sure that we're on track, because these should always add up to 200 to make sure that we have the right number of employees. All right, let's do another one. Adjust the width of that, bring this in a little bit. Now I'd like to do it by, now I want to do a countifs now by department and gender. So I know I've got 63 people in construction. I know I've got 109 females. But how many females are in construction? So let's do this. Let's take the departments, and I'm just going to take a copy of that and pop it over here. And then I'm going to take a copy of this and down here. So I've repeated that twice because I'm now going to select these cells here, type female and press Control Enter to fill them all in. Select these cells here, type male, press Control Enter to fill all of those in. And I'll just make it look nice by putting that column heading over there. And I should have brought this across at the same time, bring that across as well. So now I want to count how many employees are in construction that are female. Equals COU. Let's do a count ifs. First range it has to look at, departments. Let's go to master data. Let's look at departments. Departments was, looking across here, job title. Department was W, wasn't it? Here we go, W, departments. Look at column W, comma. Go back to calculations and find the ones that match M3, comma. Go back to master data. Look at column F, comma, and find the ones that match N3. So what are we doing? In this function, if you look at it, we're going to master data. We're looking at column W and we're counting the ones that match M3. We're also looking at master data column F and finding the ones that match N3. So it's not just construction, it's construction and female. 2 ranges, 2 criteria. When we press enter, of the 109 females, 33 of them are in construction. Of the 63 people in construction, 33 of them are female. Then I can click on this, double click, and work out all the others. If I then go to the foot of these numbers and Alt equals equals, I have 200, which means that I think those numbers are actually correct, and adjust the column width. All right, let's work out some more figures so that we've got plenty of data and business insights to add to our dashboard. Now what I want to do is look at the average ifs. We've pretty much thrashed the count ifs, so I'm just going to reduce the width of column P. I would now like to work out what is the average age of the persons employed in the construction department. Okay, so we'll grab departments, we'll take a copy of that and put that over here. We'll go here and type average age. And in here, we're going to do not a count ifs, but an average ifs. So I want to average the ages if the department is construction. Equals AV. Double click average ifs. Where is the range that you want to average? That's the first thing it wants. So we'll go to master data because we want to average the ages. So column I, and you can see that up here in the formula bar, comma. Then it says, okay, you want to average the ages, but for who? Well, where the department, so let's get back to W, where the department, comma, matches calculations construction. When you press enter, it will average column I where column W matches Q3. And so the average age is 49 years old. I want to round that, so I'm just going to change that to number, and then I'm just going to decrease the decimals to round it off to 49. Then I'll double click to fill the formula down, and I've now got the average age of employees within each department. Quite high, I would have thought, but those are average ages. Now, let's do another average ifs. Okay, now I want to know what's the average age of a female in this company and what's the average age of a male in this company. So I'm going to take a copy of this information here, paste it over here, adjust the width of this column just by dragging, and this one by double clicking, and here I'm just going to type average. Now delete that, and we're going to go equals AV. Let me scroll across a bit and let me zoom in a little bit. If it'll let me, excuse me, I'll just zoom in so you can see better what I'm up to. Here we go. All right, equals AV. Double click average ifs. What are you wanting the average of? I go to master data, I go to column I, and I say I want the average age, comma. Then it says, if I click up here, where's the range? Well, that would be the gender. So I click on column F, comma, and then it says which ones. So I go to calculations and I click on female. Average column I, where column F matches T3. When I press enter, I've got 47 point blah, blah, blah. I want to apply this format to that number. So I click on this cell, I go for my format painter, and I click on this number here, and it paints that format onto there, and I fill it down. So the average age of a female is lower than the average age of a male in this company. Now let's come back to some count ifs, because that would be of all of them the most popular of all. Now I want to put type, And I want to know how many full-timers we have, how many part-timers we have, and how many on parental leave. And these must be spelled exactly as you find them in the master data, or it won't be able to find the full-time if you put full-timers, for example. Now, I also want to go here and type number. And I'm now going to do a count ifs. Count ifs, this sheet, this, let's go across to the right, this column, comma, matches this cell. Count if column R matches W3. 163 full-timers, double click, 31 part-timers and 6 on parental leave. Click in this cell here, Alt equals, should be a total of 200 staff. Let's narrow that, drag that, and now I'm interested because I need all this information in order to create my dashboard. Now I want to know how many are permanent employees and how many are fixed term employees. So I'll type term. I'll grab a copy of this, put that over there, and I need permanent, and I've got to spell it like it's in the master data, permanent employee and fixed term. Double click, equals COU, count ifs, master data. Now where is that? That is in column S, comma, has to match this cell, enter. 193 permanent employees, 7 on fixed term, Alt equals, a total of 200 employees. Correct. That means I've just got one more thing I want to calculate. No, 2 more things I want to calculate ready for my dashboard. Right, let's go over here, narrow that column, narrow that column. Now this time I'm after location. Now I'm probably going to copy and remove the duplicates here. Let's go to master data. Let's go to column T, Control C to copy. Let's go to calculations. Let's go to AD and enter to paste. Let's then go to data, remove the duplicates, continue with the current selection and remove duplicates, and OK. So it just removes those duplicates only. Let's now move these or cut them and put them under location and delete that header. Let's now sort these from A to Z. That's our locations done. And now let's put no across to here and and let's calculate how many staff are based in Devonport, how many are based in Edgecombe, Mount Maunganui, etc. So equals COU, because that's a count ifs, master data, column T, comma, matches that cell there. 10 staff or employees are based in Devonport, and there are the remainders. Alt equals, a total of 200 staff. Last thing I want to know is what is the average age of an employee in each of these locations. So that is our average ifs, equals AV, double click average ifs, go to master data. I need to know the average age, I, comma, where the column T, comma, matches calculations Devonport. Let me just scroll over a little bit so you can see. Yeah, so average column I, where column T matches that location. 45 is the average age. Let's go and copy that format painter, click on this one here, format painter, and paint that onto there. Let's then double click to fill that down, and that's the average age of our employees based on location. So I can deduce from that that our younger employees are based in Mount Maunganui and in Devonport, and our older employees are definitely based in Opotiki. That is quite a bit in terms of our calculations, but this is all going to feed our dashboard. So we have our data sitting, control home, in our master data sheet. This can be updated, it can be changed, it can be what have you. All of these calculations in this separate sheet have been well designed because they can handle an increase or a decrease in the amount of data, because we've got these formulas all looking at the entire column. It can handle a change in the amount of data, and it can handle changes in the actual data. So these formulas are very well designed. I now want to protect these formulas so that they don't accidentally get screwed up. And so I think the easiest way to protect these is actually just to right-click calculations and protect the sheet. Now, what Microsoft have failed to mention here is that a password is optional. So you don't have to put a password, because then you have to remember it. We're only protecting against accidentally screwing up the formulas. So you won't need to put a password in. So I'm just going to go OK, and that's now protected. I can't now click on any of these and change them. This entire sheet is now protected. It can't be changed. Unless, of course, somebody right-clicked and unprotected the sheet, but then that's not protecting from accidentally screwing it up. That's somebody intentionally taking the protection off, in which case I would have used a password. All right, that's our calculations done. Now let's get on with our dashboard. Now practice what you've learnt, absorb what we've covered, and I'll see you in the next video.